style counts. The truth is that if you don't dramatically increase your active vocabulary, you'll never be an advanced student of English. Notice I say active vocabulary to distinguish it from passive vocabulary. Active vocabulary is the vocabulary that you can reproduce with no mistakes. So it means that you know the meaning, the sound, and the context in which a word is used. What do you need in order to learn new vocabulary? 1. Discipline. The most important skill to become an advanced student, it is not to be talented, but rather to be disciplined. Learning new vocabulary as an adult is not an easy task because it requires a lot of discipline. In fact, if students don't progress, it is only because they don't dedicate enough time to learning the new vocabulary. They see the new words and they completely ignore them. Hence, you'll need discipline to learn by heart every new word and expression of your audiobook. This means reviewing the words every time you have a minute, at home, in your office, at your school, when you're waiting for someone, traveling home, or going to work. 2. Careful observation. Students don't learn English as fast as they could simply because they don't pay enough attention. This means realizing what the sound of the word is, what its meaning is, and in which context it should be used. So please pay attention to what you hear and see. 3. Lots of practice. You don't learn a word only by saying it aloud a couple of times. You have to say aloud the new word or expression 100 times if necessary. Remember that advanced students learn more words just because they work harder repeating words. The opposite is also true. Students stay at a low level of English just because they never sit down to learn new words. They continue to speak like a child all their lives. What method will we use to learn new vocabulary? There are several methods for learning vocabulary. I often recommend a combination of them. For example, learning through watching films, listening audios, repeating, and reading. You can use all these methods whenever you have time to learn new vocabulary. In this course, however, we'll use the audiobook as our main tool for learning new words. It is indeed an ideal tool because it allows you to combine the listening with the meaning in the context of a story. This makes it easier to learn new words. Steps to follow. With the help of the audiobook, you're going to learn new vocabulary. First, by listening carefully, and then you'll try to associate the new words to some images I have included in the course material. If you have trouble reproducing the sound, check the phonetics in word reference and use a page to listen to those words that are for you difficult to understand. If you do it the other way around, that is by reading instead of listening, you ruin your capacity to reproduce the new words correctly. So don't ever read before listening. Go to chapter 1 of your audiobook and get ready to learn vocabulary by listening and associating ideas. Now look for each of the sentences that are represented in your audiobook. Play the sentence and look at the picture at the same time. Repeat each sentence aloud many times, trying to sound as native as possible. If you have doubts about the meaning of the sentences, please check the translation in your audiobook. Let's see some examples. Vocabulary Chapter 1. 1. To be filled. Estar lleno. The studio was filled with an intense smell of roses. The studio was filled with an intense smell of roses. 2. To spread out. Extenderse. Spread out over a divan. Spread out over a divan. 3. Easel. Caballete. On an easel. On an easel.